In late October of 2011, I moved to New York City from Fair Lawn, New Jersey, and a decade went by like that. In honor of that milestone, I'm gonna be sharing 10 things I've learned living in New York City for 10 years. Tell me in the comments if you can relate. It's like no place else. I've always heard it, but you have to live here for a while to really see it. The people that live in New York City, they're just cut from a different cloth. Especially the natives or the people that have lived here a really long time. I've never lived someplace else where so many random strangers will just interrupt your conversation if they think they can add to it. That is by far the most New York thing I could possibly think of. The energy, the pace of life, the spirit, everything you've heard about New York, I'm here to confirm it's all true. Guys, I kind of got stuck in New York for 10 years. I think this is the perfect metaphor. The city's resilient and New Yorkers are tough. Now, I wasn't here for 9/11, but I was here for Hurricane Sandy in 2012. My apartment in the village lost power for a week, and even though I didn't appreciate it at the time, I really saw how those local businesses came together at that moment. The deli that was across the street from me on Bleecker, even at night, with no power, the owner had his car pointing at the deli with the headlights on so people could buy basic supplies. The bar down the street, they stayed open and had people drinking beer by candlelight. When the city needs it most, the community and the local businesses do come together. Fast forward 8 years to the pandemic, same story all over again. We saw how so many small businesses had to fight for survival, and they had locals lining up down the block just for takeout. I never felt more proud to be a New Yorker than seeing the city in those types of dire straits and still hanging on somehow. There's more to life here than living in Manhattan. I've been in Park Slope, Brooklyn for the last year, and I can officially say I never want to live in a tiny apartment facing the back of a building again. Shocking development, I know. I was as guilty as any single person who wanted to live below 14th Street and never really left their area. Honestly, until I got my YouTube channel in 2016, I wasn't exploring the city like I should have been. And that was a mistake. And now that I live in Brooklyn, I don't want to go back to Manhattan, no matter how convenient it was, because I feel like we found the right neighborhood for us. And I respect people that live in any of the 5 boroughs because you can find good food, you can find good community anywhere. The craggy hole in my heart and the cat who fixed it. Allegiances. I'm talking about food here. New Yorkers have some strong opinions about where the best pizza is, where the best bagels are, where the best this is, where the best that is, and you can't argue with a lot of them. I even saw it in the last video I posted about the top 5 spots to visit in Queens. I knew I would get some flack because I skipped this spot or that spot, but man, some of those comments were intense, and you know what? I respect that. New Yorkers are opinionated, and you're gonna hear about their favorite places. That's something that's a lot of fun for me, actually. So as you can see, these 2 trees got the memo about fall. The rest of the block, not so much. The subway isn't as intimidating as I thought. I know the subway is one of those things that scares outsiders a lot, and the New York City subway can be pretty confusing, but you live here long enough and you travel around the city long enough, you start to figure things out to the point where I don't really need to check apps that often to go places that I typically go to. Another thing are the train conductors. Now, I know they look gruff sometimes on the outside, but anytime I've needed to ask for directions, if I'm lost and I stand near the indication board, talked about this in one of my tips videos, they've been friendly every single time in helping me out. In fact, one time I was with my camera guy, Ben, and we were asking for directions for a video showing how to ask for directions. And we didn't film this, but the conductor at the next stop jumped out of her booth, walked up to us sitting on the train and said, "Hey guys, this is the stop you're looking for." Never thought I would see that in New York City. How obsessed many visitors and tourists are with New York City. I grew up 20 minutes from the George Washington Bridge, so New York was always there for me. It wasn't this foreign concept. Because of having this YouTube channel, and many of you watching this video right now, I have learned the obsession and love of New York City around the world. I have met some of you who have tattooed New York City landmarks on your body or have rooms full of New York City decorations, and this stuff inspires me more to explore the Big Apple and bring you guys a lot of great content. But for people that grow up in the tri-state area, it took me moving here and it took me having a channel like this to see how much love there is for New York outside of the area. And if you want to show some love to this channel, make sure to hit that like button down below so YouTube will distribute this video to more people. New York sandwiches are the best. I grew up in North Jersey, so pizzas and bagels were never something that I had any issues finding. But I didn't really go out of my way to eat a lot of deli sandwiches when I lived in Jersey. In New York, this is something that you can find so easily. Delis feels like around every single corner. And our sandwich quality, pastrami, corned beef, turkey. You want to do New York City food right? Go to an old school Jewish deli, or just go to any deli, and you will not be disappointed. We're at my favorite deli right here, Russo's, Park Slope. Cool thing about this place is they name some of the sandwiches after streets in Park Slope. We are ready to go. Hits a spot every single time. There's New York of the movies, and there's the real New York. It took me having this YouTube channel to discover quite a bit. It's always been here, of course. The Riverdales in the Bronx, the areas that feel suburban, like the mansions of Flatbush or Malibu, Queens. There's people that live in these neighborhoods that almost never go to Manhattan. For them, New York City is just the surrounding neighborhood. It's not having 24/7 access to everything. And I've learned how you're not just a New Yorker if you live in one of the popular neighborhoods or even one of the popular boroughs. There's a real nostalgia for New York City. I see this when I travel, for one. I tell people I'm from New York, and if they've ever visited here before, they've always got a story. Usually it's something crazy that happened to them. Or better yet, if they moved away from New York, deep down, they're still a New Yorker. For example, I moved to Florida, but I'm from Brooklyn or I'm from Queens. There's always this distinction that they're from New York, and there's a lot of pride that goes into it. And I didn't realize it until I moved here, how deep that pride and nostalgia really runs, and it's something that's really, really cool. Picking the right neighborhood is everything. While the city has every possible cultural, tourist, and culinary attraction there is, there's still something to be said about staying local. And when you like your neighborhood, you don't have to find excuses to leave all the time if there's a lot of things you enjoy going on near you. A lot of our neighborhoods would be the most interesting city in many states in the US. So do your homework and pick wisely. And if you need help, I did a video about how to pick the right neighborhood when you move to New York City. Check it out. Tell me down below in the comments if you live in New York or you ever lived here, what lessons you learned. I'm curious. And make sure to subscribe for more, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, till next time.